Welcome to the Housing Choice Voucher Program, Orientation for the Mathis Housing Authority. Chapter 1. Welcome to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Congratulations. Congratulations on becoming eligible for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, commonly known as the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. The Mathis Housing Authority is pleased to welcome you to the program. Receiving a housing voucher is an important step toward obtaining safe, decent, and affordable housing for you and your family. This orientation is designed to explain how the program works, what is expected of you as a participant, and how the Housing Authority will work with both you and your landlord to help make your tenancy successful. Our goal is to provide you with the knowledge and resources you need to remain in good standing throughout your participation in the program. What is the Housing Choice Voucher Program? The Housing Choice Voucher Program is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and administered locally by the Mathis Housing Authority. Unlike public housing, the Housing Choice Voucher Program allows eligible families to rent homes, apartments, duplexes, townhomes, or manufactured homes owned by private landlords. As long as the property meets HUD housing quality standards, has reasonable rent, falls within program payment standards, and is approved by the Housing Authority, it may qualify for assistance. This gives participants greater flexibility in choosing where they live while ensuring that housing remains safe, sanitary, and affordable. How the program works. The Housing Choice Voucher Program is a partnership involving three parties: the participant, the landlord, and the Housing Authority. The participant is responsible for finding an eligible rental unit, paying your portion of the rent on time, following the lease, reporting changes promptly, and maintaining the unit. The landlord agrees to rent a unit that meets HUD standards, make necessary repairs, and comply with the lease and housing assistance payments contract. The Mathis Housing Authority will determine your eligibility, calculate your rent portion, inspect the unit, pay the housing assistance payment directly to your landlord, conduct annual recertifications, and assist you throughout your participation. When everyone fulfills their responsibilities, the program works successfully. Our commitment. The staff at the Mathis Housing Authority is committed to treating every participant with courtesy, fairness, professionalism, and respect. If you have questions at any time, please contact your housing specialist. We are here to help you succeed. Chapter 2. Understanding how your voucher works. Receiving a voucher does not automatically mean you have housing. Instead, your voucher gives you the opportunity to search for a rental unit that meets HUD requirements and whose owner is willing to participate in the program. Once you locate an eligible unit, the Housing Authority must approve both the unit and the proposed rent before assistance can begin. After approval, you will sign two separate agreements. The lease agreement. The lease is between you and your landlord. It outlines monthly rent, security deposit, lease term, rules for occupying the property, and responsibilities of both parties. The Housing Authority is not a party to your lease. Housing Assistance Payments Contract. The Housing Assistance Payments, HAP, contract is an agreement between the landlord and the Housing Authority. Under this contract, the Housing Authority pays its portion of the rent directly to the landlord. You pay your tenant portion directly to the landlord. The landlord agrees to comply with HUD regulations. Your tenant portion. Many participants mistakenly believe they will pay a fixed amount of rent. This is not correct. Your tenant portion is based on your adjusted household income. As your income changes, your rent may also change. Housing Assistance Payment. The Housing Authority generally pays the difference between the approved contract rent and your required tenant portion. The Housing Authority does not pay utility bills, security deposits, late fees, damages, or charges that are not approved under the program. Utility Allowance. If you are responsible for paying certain utilities, HUD may provide a utility allowance. A utility allowance is not additional cash paid directly to you. Instead, it is a credit used when calculating your tenant rent. This helps ensure that families paying utilities are treated fairly when determining affordability. Chapter 3. How your rent is calculated. Many participants wonder how the Housing Authority determines how much rent they must pay. HUD has established a standard calculation process that every housing authority must follow. Step 1. Determine gross annual income. Gross annual income includes most sources of income received by every household member. Examples include employment wages, self-employment income, Social Security benefits, SSI, disability benefits, retirement pensions, child support, unemployment benefits, veterans benefits, and regular contributions from others. Certain types of income may be excluded under HUD regulations. Your housing specialist will explain these exclusions if they apply to your household. Step 2. Apply allowable deductions. HUD allows certain deductions that reduce your annual income before calculating your rent. Examples include dependent allowance, elderly or disabled family allowance, certain unreimbursed medical expenses for eligible households, and qualified child care expenses that allow a family member to work or attend school. Not every family qualifies for every deduction. Step 3. Calculate adjusted income. After allowable deductions are applied, the remaining amount becomes your adjusted annual income. This amount is divided into monthly income for rent calculation purposes. Step 4. Calculate your tenant total payment, TTP. In most cases, your tenant total payment is approximately 30% of your adjusted monthly income. HUD regulations also establish other minimum calculations that may apply in certain situations. Your housing specialist will explain your specific rent calculation during your eligibility appointment. Why reporting income is important. Your rent is based entirely on accurate information. Whenever your household experiences a change, notify the housing authority immediately. Examples include starting a new job, losing employment, receiving Social Security, marriage, divorce, birth of a child, death of a household member, or a household member moving in or out. Failing to report changes promptly may result in repayment of overpaid assistance, program violations, and possible termination from the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Chapter 4. Your responsibilities as a program participant. Receiving a Housing Choice Voucher is a valuable opportunity. Along with the benefits of rental assistance come important responsibilities. By following program rules and maintaining good communication with the housing authority and your landlord, you can continue receiving assistance for as long as you remain eligible. Your Housing Choice Voucher is your responsibility to protect. Pay your portion of the rent. You must pay your required portion of the rent directly to your landlord every month by the due date specified in your lease. Even though the housing authority pays a portion of the rent, you remain responsible for paying your share on time. Failure to pay rent may result in late fees, eviction, and termination of your housing assistance. If you experience a financial hardship, contact your landlord and your housing specialist immediately. Do not ignore the situation. Follow your lease agreement. Your lease is a legal contract between you and your landlord. You are expected to comply with all lease terms, including paying rent on time, keeping the property clean and sanitary, avoiding damage beyond normal wear and tear, respecting neighbors, following community rules, and not engaging in criminal activity. Violating your lease may result in eviction and loss of your voucher. Report changes promptly. Federal regulations require you to report changes that may affect your eligibility or rent. Examples include employment changes, changes in income, marriage, divorce, birth or adoption, death, or moving in or out. Do not wait until your annual recertification. Do not allow unauthorized occupants. Every person living in your unit must be approved by the housing authority. Friends or relatives may not move into your home without prior approval. Unauthorized occupants can lead to repayment of assistance, program violations, and termination. Maintain the unit. Participants are expected to keep the unit clean, safe, and in good condition. This includes proper housekeeping, trash disposal, keeping utilities connected, and reporting maintenance issues promptly. Allow inspections. HUD requires the housing authority to inspect assisted units periodically. You must allow access after proper notice. Complete annual recertification. Every year you must complete an annual recertification to verify income, composition, assets, and expenses. Stay in communication. Always keep your housing specialist informed and respond promptly to communications. Chapter 5. Landlord Responsibilities. The Housing Choice Voucher Program is a partnership between the participant, the landlord, and the housing authority. Landlords who participate in the program agree to comply with HUD regulations as well as the Housing Assistance Payments Contract. Provide safe housing. The landlord must provide housing that meets HUD housing quality standards. The property must be safe, structurally sound, sanitary, and in good repair. Complete necessary repairs. If repairs are needed, the landlord must complete them within the time allowed. Failure to do so may result in suspension or abatement of payments or contract termination. Charge reasonable rent. HUD requires all assisted units to have reasonable rent. The requested rent cannot exceed what comparable unassisted units receive. Comply with the lease. The landlord must follow all lease provisions. They may not charge unauthorized fees, collect side payments, or require additional rent beyond the approved amount. They must also not discriminate against participants. Respect participant rights. Landlords must respect protections under federal fair housing laws, HUD regulations, the Violence Against Women Act, and local laws. Notify the housing authority. Landlords should promptly notify MHA regarding lease violations, evictions, or changes in ownership or management. Chapter 6. The HUD Tenancy Addendum. One of the most important documents in your lease packet is the HUD Tenancy Addendum. Although many participants overlook this document, it provides important legal protections. The Tenancy Addendum is required by federal law and must be attached to every Housing Choice Voucher lease. Why it exists. The Tenancy Addendum ensures that every assisted lease complies with HUD regulations. If a provision in your lease conflicts with HUD requirements, the HUD Tenancy Addendum controls. This protects both you and your landlord. What the addendum covers. It explains your rights, landlord responsibilities, rent rules, and program compliance. Your protections. It ensures you cannot be charged unauthorized rent and that you receive required legal protections. Read it carefully before signing. Chapter 7. Finding a rental unit. Now that you understand how the program works, it's time to begin searching for housing. Finding the right home is one of the most important steps in successfully using your voucher. Where to search? You may search for units by contacting property management companies, searching online websites, looking for signs in neighborhoods, asking friends for referrals, or contacting nonprofits. Remember, not every landlord participates, so ask before applying. Avoid rental scams. Rental scams are common. Never send money or sensitive information before verifying the property exists. The advertiser is the owner, you have viewed it, and the landlord is willing to participate. If something seems suspicious, contact your housing specialist. Choosing the right unit. When selecting a home, consider monthly utility costs, transportation, schools, employment, medical facilities, groceries, childcare, and neighborhood safety. Choosing a home that fits your family's needs will help you maintain stability. Chapter 8. The Request for Tenancy Approval, RFTA. After you find a unit and the landlord agrees to participate, the next step is completing the request for tenancy approval. The RFTA is one of the most important documents in the leasing process. It provides MHA with the information needed to determine if the unit can be approved. Until the RFTA is approved, do not move in or sign a lease unless instructed. Completing the RFTA. Most info is completed by the landlord, but you are responsible for making sure the form is complete. The RFTA should include address, owner/manager info, rent, security deposit, utilities paid by landlord/tenant, bedroom count, unit type, and lease start date. An incomplete RFTA will delay processing. After the RFTA is submitted, once received, MHA will verify owner eligibility, determine rent reasonableness, confirm payment standards, and schedule the initial inspection. The process isn't complete until every required step has been finished. Avoid delays by reviewing the RFTA carefully and responding quickly to requests. Chapter 9. Voucher, Expiration, and Extensions. Your housing choice. Voucher is valid for a limited period of time. The expiration date is printed directly on your voucher. It is your responsibility to know this date and search immediately. Waiting until the last few weeks may make it difficult to find a unit. Initial search period. Most participants receive an initial term to locate housing. Begin your search as soon as you receive your voucher. Requesting an extension. If you need more time, request an extension in writing before the voucher expires. Explain why and show your search efforts. Extensions are not automatic. Reasonable accommodations. Participants with disabilities may request additional time with documentation. Once a voucher expires, it generally cannot be reissued. Chapter 10. Housing Quality Standards, HQS. Before the Housing Authority can approve your rental unit, it must pass an inspection. HUD requires every assisted unit to meet housing quality standards to ensure housing is safe, sanitary, and in good repair. This protects both participants and taxpayers. Areas inspected: exterior, foundation, roof, siding, windows, doors, steps, handrails. Interior, walls, floors, ceilings, smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, lighting, electrical outlets, plumbing, water heater, and heating system. Kitchen, working sink, safe cooking equipment, refrigerator, hot and cold water, ventilation. Bathroom, toilet, sink, tub/shower, plumbing, and ventilation. Safety. Verify no exposed wiring, no tripping hazards, secure locks, and emergency exits. Failed inspections. If deficiencies are found, the landlord is given a deadline for repairs. Assistance cannot begin until the unit passes. Annual inspections. Even after moving in, HUD requires periodic inspections to ensure program standards continue to be met. Report maintenance issues to your landlord promptly. Chapter 11. Payment Standards and Rent Reasonableness. Many participants believe there is a maximum rent amount HUD will pay. Actually, two concepts are used: payment standards and rent reasonableness. Payment standards represent the maximum assistance MHA may provide. Rent reasonableness involves comparing the unit to similar unassisted units in the market. Rent reasonableness. Factors considered include location, size, age, condition, amenities, utilities, and bedrooms. The 40% rule. For new admissions, HUD generally limits the participant's share of rent and utilities to no more than 40% of adjusted monthly income at initial lease-up. If the rent exceeds this, the unit cannot be approved. Always consider utility costs. A lower rent unit with high utilities may cost more. Chapter 12. Annual recertification. Your eligibility is reviewed at least once each year to verify you meet requirements and ensure rent is calculated correctly. Annual recertification is a federal requirement. During this process, MHA reviews composition, income, assets, deductions, and student/disability status. Documents you may be asked to provide. This include pay stubs, Social Security statements, SSI or disability letters, pension statements, child support docs, bank statements, investment accounts, and identification. Attend scheduled appointments. Reschedule if you cannot attend. Failure to provide info may result in termination of assistance. Verification may be done with employers or agencies. Providing false info is program fraud. Updated rent calculation. After recertification, you will receive written notice explaining your approved income, adjusted income, TTP, HAP, and your new rent amount. Review this carefully and contact your housing specialist with questions. The next chapters will cover portability, fair housing, VAWA, program violations, and more.
Thank you for taking the time thus far in the orientation. We're about halfway finished. I'd like for you to all take a 5-minute restroom, drink break, and then come back, please, promptly in 5 minutes so we can continue on with the orientation. Thanks.
The sun comes up on the Texas sky. Coffee's hot and the breeze rolls by. Kids are laughing, playing in the yard. Neighbors looking out, ain't ever hard. Front porch waving, everybody knows. Around here kindness naturally grows. It's more than walls and a place to stay. It's a little piece of home every day. I'm proud to call this place my home, where friendly hearts are never alone. Right here together, we're family, living life the way it ought to be, with hope ahead and faith to see. The best is still in front of me. Thankful every single day I'm free to call the Mathis housing community. Flowers blooming by the front doorstep, dreams of growing with every breath, helping hands when times get rough. Around these parts, that's more than enough. Children learning, seniors smiling too. Everybody's got a job to do, building futures one day at a time, sharing hope in this life of mine. I'm proud to call this place my home, where friendly hearts are never alone. Right here together, we're family, living life the way it ought to be, with hope ahead and faith to see. The best is still in front of me. Thankful every single day I'm free to call future sees. One good neighbor can change your day. That's the Texas way. I'm proud to call this place my home, where friendly hearts have always grown, standing strong with dignity, sharing dreams for all to see. Here's to tomorrow and memories, growing roots beneath these trees. Thankful for this opportunity at the Mathis Housing Community. Yeah, home's more than an address on a street. It's the people that make your heart complete. That's the spirit you'll always see here at the Mathis Housing Community.
Thanks everyone for returning promptly in 5 minutes. We are going to start the second portion of the orientation shortly.
Welcome back to the Mathis Housing Authority Orientation. This is Part 2, covering Chapters 13 through 23. Chapter 13, Reporting Changes Between Annual Recertifications. Life changes can happen at any time. When they do, it is important to notify the Housing Authority promptly. Certain changes may require an interim recertification, which is an adjustment made between annual reviews. Report changes promptly. Notify your housing specialist if any of the following occur. You begin a new job. Your employment ends. Your work hours change significantly. Your wages increase or decrease. You begin receiving Social Security or disability benefits. Child support changes. A household member moves in or out. You get married or divorced. A child is born or adopted. You change your mailing address, phone number, or email address. Prompt reporting helps ensure your rent is calculated correctly and prevents overpayments or underpayments. What happens after you report a change? The Housing Authority may request documentation to verify the reported change. Once verified, your housing specialist will determine whether the change affects your rent or eligibility. If an adjustment is necessary, you will receive written notification explaining the effective date of the change. Why timely reporting matters. Failing to report required changes may result in repayment of housing assistance, program violations, administrative sanctions, and possible termination from the Housing Choice Voucher Program. If you are unsure whether something should be reported, contact your housing specialist. Chapter 14, Moving to Another Unit. Participants may choose to move after fulfilling the requirements of their lease and the Housing Choice Voucher Program. However, moving requires approval from the Housing Authority. Do not sign a new lease or move to another unit until you have received authorization before you move. Before relocating, you must notify your housing specialist. Comply with your current lease. Provide proper notice to your landlord. Receive Housing Authority approval. Obtain a new voucher if required. Submit a new request for tenancy approval, RFTA. Failure to follow these steps may place your housing assistance at risk. Reasons participants move. Common reasons include needing a larger or smaller unit, employment opportunities, safety concerns, accessibility needs, changes in family size, landlord issues, and relocating closer to family or medical services. Each move must comply with HUD regulations and housing authority policies. New unit approval. Before assistance can begin at the new unit, the RFTA must be approved. Rent must be determined reasonable. The unit must pass HQS inspection. The lease and HAP contract must be completed. Housing assistance payments cannot begin until all requirements have been met. Chapter 15. Portability. One of the advantages of the Housing Choice Voucher Program is that participants may have the opportunity to move to another community while continuing to receive rental assistance. This process is known as portability. What is portability? Portability allows eligible participants to transfer their voucher to another housing authority that administers the Housing Choice Voucher Program. This flexibility gives families greater opportunities to pursue employment, education, or family support in other communities. Eligibility requirements. HUD regulations and local policy determine when portability is available. Generally, participants must be in good standing with the housing authority, comply with program requirements, meet any residency requirements established by HUD, and receive approval before moving. Your housing specialist can explain how these rules apply to your situation. Receiving housing authority. When you port your voucher, your file is transferred to another housing authority. That housing authority becomes responsible for administering your voucher while you live within its jurisdiction. Processing times vary depending on the receiving agency. Important reminder: do not move until portability has been approved. Moving without authorization could result in the loss of your housing assistance. Chapter 16. Fair housing rights. Every participant has the right to be treated fairly and equally. Federal fair housing laws prohibit discrimination in housing. The Mathis Housing Authority is committed to ensuring that every applicant and participant receives equal access to housing opportunities. Protected classes. Federal law prohibits discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and familial status. Additional protections may exist under state or local law. Examples of housing discrimination. Discrimination may include refusing to rent because of a protected characteristic, advertising preferences or limitations, providing different rental terms, harassment, and refusing reasonable accommodations for persons with disabilities. Reasonable accommodations. Participants with disabilities may request reasonable accommodations to fully participate in the program. Examples may include additional time to submit paperwork, accessible communication methods, live-in aids when approved, and modifications to policies when required by law. Requests are reviewed individually. Reporting discrimination. If you believe you have experienced housing discrimination, contact the Mathis Housing Authority immediately. You may also file a complaint with the appropriate federal or state agency responsible for enforcing fair housing laws. Chapter 17. Violence Against Women Act, VAWA, Protections. The Violence Against Women Act provides important protections for victims of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking. Although the law is called the Violence Against Women Act, its protections apply regardless of gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or age. The Mathis Housing Authority is committed to administering these protections fairly, respectfully, and confidentially. Your rights under VAWA. If you or a member of your household has experienced violence, you may qualify for special protections. These protections may include protection from being denied housing assistance solely because you are a victim, protection from losing your voucher because of violence committed against you, the ability to request an emergency transfer when appropriate, the ability to request removal of an abusive household member, and confidential handling of information, Requesting assistance. If you believe you qualify for VAWA protections, contact your housing specialist as soon as possible. You may be asked to complete certification forms. The Housing Authority will explain your rights while maintaining your privacy. Emergency transfers. When certain conditions are met, participants may request an emergency transfer. Approval depends on eligibility and resources. Confidentiality. Information related to domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking will be kept confidential. If you need help, please speak with your housing specialist. You do not have to face these situations alone. Chapter 18. Program Violations, Fraud, and Termination of Assistance. The Housing Choice Voucher Program is funded by federal tax dollars. HUD requires every housing authority to protect the integrity of the program by investigating fraud and enforcing rules. Most participants successfully remain in the program for many years by simply following the rules and communicating with their housing specialist. Common program violations. Examples include failing to report income or household changes, allowing unauthorized occupants, providing false information or falsifying documents, receiving assistance for another residence, failing annual recertification, violating the lease, or damaging the assisted unit. Criminal activity. HUD regulations permit termination of assistance for criminal activity, including drug-related or violent criminal activity, activity that threatens the health and safety of others, or fraud involving federal assistance. Each situation is reviewed individually in accordance with regulations and MHA policies. Program fraud. This occurs when a participant intentionally provides false info to obtain assistance, such as hiding income or members. If fraud is discovered, participants may be required to repay assistance, lose their voucher, and may face civil or criminal action. Avoiding problems. The best way to protect your assistance is simple. Be honest. Report changes promptly. Keep copies of important documents. Respond quickly to housing authority requests, and ask questions whenever you are uncertain. Chapter 19. Informal reviews and informal hearings. The Housing Choice Voucher Program includes procedures that allow applicants and participants to request a review of certain housing authority decisions to ensure fairness and due process. Informal reviews. Applicants who are denied admission may be entitled to request an informal review. The written notice you receive will explain whether an informal review is available and how to request one. Informal hearings. Current participants may request an informal hearing regarding certain decisions affecting their assistance, such as termination, rent calculations, or repayment agreements. Some decisions are not subject to a hearing. Your notice will explain your rights. Preparing for a hearing. If you request a hearing, you may review relevant documents, present evidence, bring witnesses, and be represented by an attorney or another person at your own expense. The hearing officer will consider the evidence before issuing a written decision. Chapter 20. Participant Success Tips. Thousands of families successfully participate in the Housing Choice Voucher Program every year. The following tips can help you remain in good standing. Keep good records. Maintain copies of your lease, housing authority letters, inspection reports, income documents, and notices from your landlord. Organizing your paperwork makes future appointments easier. Open your mail. Always read correspondence from the housing authority promptly. Missing a deadline because a letter was not opened may place your assistance at risk. Respond quickly. If your housing specialist requests information, respond as soon as possible. Maintain positive relationships. Treat your landlord, neighbors, and staff with courtesy and respect. Good communication often prevents misunderstandings. Ask questions. If you do not understand something, ask. Your housing specialist is available to help explain requirements before they become problems. Chapter 21. Frequently asked questions. Let's cover some of the most common questions participants have about the program. What happens if I lose my job? Notify your housing specialist immediately. Your rent may change depending on circumstances. Can someone move in with me? Only after the housing authority has approved them. Never allow someone to move in without approval. Can I move? Possibly. Contact your housing specialist before making any plans. Never sign a new lease without approval. What if my landlord wants to raise the rent? Rent increases must comply with your lease, HUD regulations, and MHA approval. What if something breaks? Notify your landlord immediately. If repairs are not completed, contact your specialist. What if I receive a notice from my landlord? Read it carefully and contact your specialist. Can my voucher expire? Yes. Pay close attention to your expiration date and request an extension before it expires. Chapter 22, Participant Checklist. Before you receive your voucher, attend orientation, review your briefing packet, and ask questions. While searching for housing, begin searching immediately, keep track of properties, and verify that landlords are willing to participate. Consider transportation, schools, and utility costs. Before moving in, submit a complete RFTA. Wait for housing authority approval and for the unit to pass inspection. Sign the lease only after receiving approval. After moving in, pay your rent on time. Report income and household changes promptly. Maintain the unit. Allow inspections. Complete annual recertification, and keep copies of important documents. Chapter 23, Closing Message. Congratulations once again on receiving your Housing Choice Voucher. The program provides an opportunity to obtain safe, affordable housing while working toward greater financial stability and independence. Your success depends on understanding the rules, maintaining communication, and fulfilling your responsibilities. The Mathis Housing Authority is committed to helping you succeed. If you have questions, please contact your assigned housing specialist. We are here to support you. Thank you for completing this orientation. We wish you and your family success as you begin this new chapter. Welcome to the Housing Choice Voucher Program.